gentlemen, the dead man is here, and he brought the Twiztid serial killers and a Bruce brother to boot. They're just this way at the Dim Carnival.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And this week we're talking about 16 albums.
Oh my god.
Talking about... And you know what? The funny thing is, this may not be a long episode. We are talking about Blaze, You Dead Homies' full-length album, One Less G into Hood. We are talking about Twiztid's Mirror Mirror EP. And we are talking about Jumpsteady's Chaos Theory EP. And the funny thing is that these EPs are the length of what most bands would consider a full album.
Right, 11 tracks? I think that's good enough for an LP, in my book.
Well, I know Mirror Mirror is 37 minutes long, and if I had to guesstimate, Chaos Theory by Jumpsteady is 6 or 7 hours long. But anyway,
I think it's about the same length.
What should we start with? Should we start with...
Well, we do them in order that you said. You said it was Blaze, Mirror Mirror, and Jumpsteady.
Okay, let's start with the good album. Let's start with Blaze You Dead Homies.
What?
Start with Blaze You Dead Homies' One Less G in the Hood, which is really weird. So, the original version of this album, which came out on October 16th, 2001. So, I believe that's, did the Bizarre Bazaars, they came out in 2000, right?
2000.
Okay. So, almost a year to the day after, the Bizarre Bazaars and Dark Lotus came out, now Blaze finally gets his own full-length album. And he had put out an EP at this point, which we haven't covered, but here's the weird thing. So, the original version of this album, you could no longer, buy a brand, because Blaze has gone to Magic Ninja Entertainment, which is Twiztid's label, and there's a bunch of weirdness happening with that label and Psychopathic Records, but apparently it seems like they just whenever someone leaves Psychopathic Records, they get to just keep all their songs, it seems like, because the original version of this album you can find on YouTube, but it's not the version that you can find on Spotify, because the version that's on Spotify is the Deluxe G edition that was reissued in 2006, and I think it was re-released again on Magic Ninja Entertainment. But nevertheless, I guess as ICP would say, irregardless, the album that's on Spotify is the Deluxe G edition, which is very strange because the original album, it has the eulogy as the intro, which is Jumpsteady is delivering a eulogy. So it was that, and then it went right into Grave Ain't No Place. But on the Deluxe G edition, it has Intro to the Hood, which is the intro track off of his debut EP, and then it goes into his debut EP, and then it goes into Grave Ain't No Place. So it goes Intro to the Hood, and then 4 of the 5 tracks off of his EP, and then omitting the track that has ICP and Twiztid on it, and then goes into Grave Ain't No Place. So the flow is completely fucked up on that. And then at the end of the album, after Thug for Life, it omits Hatchet Execution, and it also omits Straight Outta Detroit, and then it has 3 more tracks: Lookout, featuring The Shadow, Mama I Ain't Changed, and Garbage. So it's all weird, and it cuts out almost everything that ICP is involved with on the album. So, there's that. But I definitely, if you listen to it on Spotify, I definitely, if you listen to it on Spotify and enjoyed it at all, I definitely recommend going back and trying to find the original version if you've never listened to it on Amazon or in a record store or on YouTube, which is pretty easy to find on YouTube. So they add like 6 songs to it, take off like 3, and then and it just like the whole flow of the album is just garbage. Because Grave Ain't No Place is a fucking amazing song, in my opinion. And so is Casket. Like those are really good 1-2 punch for me. I've always liked those 2 songs a lot. So like having to wait like until track 5, track 6, having to wait till track 6 to get to Grave Ain't No Place is very weird. Like the album kicks in halfway through the album. So yeah,
wow,
just weirdness stuff. But now, with all that out of the way, let's get some thoughts.
Well, dude, I had no idea about any of that, so thank you. That was very interesting. I was like, with this album, okay, so let me start with this. I fucking love many, many songs on this album. This album is way, way better than I was expecting.
Right.
And I remember that you guys, that had been mentioned on the show before, that it's better than you think. And it was, so I was going into it pretty optimistic, and it was way better than I thought. Really, really enjoyed listening to it. And of the 3 records, I listened to this one. I probably listened to the whole record maybe 4 times through.
Yeah.
Whereas I listened to Mirror Mirror twice, and I listened to Chaos Theory once. So, I fucking loved it. But
Nice.
It did feel like the album didn't start for me until like Juggalo Anthem. Like we're almost halfway through the record, before I found a song that I was really into.
Did you listen to the original or the?
I listened to the deluxe edition. Yeah,
that's what I listened
20
to
tracks.
too. So, and I have the CD. That's what's stupid. But I just listened to it on YouTube.
I also have this CD, and I went on Spotify, and I was like, well, it's the deluxe edition. It must be even better.
Yeah, because I don't remember any of these songs, and now thinking that I listened to the wrong album in a way. I didn't remember any of it. Like nothing sounded familiar to me, and I don't think that had I listened to the actual album, if I put my just CD in that I have, I would have felt the same way. Like I wouldn't have recognized any of it. So, but there was a lot of songs I really liked though. I thought it was a really cool album, at least what I listened to, you know, the updated one.
I thought that so Blaze's gimmick is real strong.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a great job of sticking to his gimmick pretty much through this entire album. Every song kind of speaks to his persona or whatever. There's not really nothing that seems like filler to me, you know, everything. So it's interesting. So I guess that makes sense that it's multiple albums, you know, because that's a lot of effort. It seems like a lot of effort to put into one record.
Yeah.
You know, if it were this deluxe G edition, if this was his first release, it'd be like, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
Amazing.
Well, it's funny to me because like I was explaining it to my friend, the concept of this character, and I was like, it's a really cool concept, you know. He's this gangster who dies in the 89, so he's like an 80s gangster, and then he like 11 years later he resurrects for some reason, and and he still looks the same, and he's got maggots on his face, and I was like, and it's really cool. And then like him being this character, I had no idea that he was separated from Psychopathic Records. So for me, it was he's just like, Dark Lotus and all the different things that he's a part of. And so I was, listening to it and thinking it was really cool until like, God, what? Okay, so I made notes for every song, and oh God, what song? I think maybe like on Maggot Face, I guess it was, or right after that, I was just like, this is really cool, but there's only so many ways you can sing about this character. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I felt like there kind of needed to be, and maybe I didn't pay attention enough, and maybe I should listen to it some more, because I just didn't feel like there could have been like story songs, you know what I mean? Yeah, like adventures that he went on, stuff like that. I mean,
well, there's Saturday Afternoon.
But I just felt like it's a hard character to continue to like, and he does it great, and he makes like 4 ingredients into like a million different dishes that is all the same stuff, and
That's
it's
a great
slightly
way to put
different.
Yeah.
But but it's just those still 4 ingredients, and it's just not as he doesn't have as much to work with like a concept like Insane Clowns, you know what I mean?
And I think you're right. I absolutely agree with you, and I think that in future albums, although I don't know future albums, but I'm pretty sure that in future albums he expands on the concept a lot more. Like I know that he like gets like different makeup and starts doing different sort of things, but you're definitely right. But I think the one thing that does expand his mythos is the song Nasty.
If I blow ass, you gon' know fast. All of y'all gon' need a fucking gas mask. I'm the yellow shit underneath your armpit. And when I toss snacks, fly cause I spit. I'm like clay, wet, smelly, and gray. I wore the same clothes.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that he's dead, it's that he's really gross.
Really gross.
Which I think adds a very important dimension to Blaze. And I gotta admit, Nasty has always been one of my favorite tracks off of this album. And I think it goes a really long way because, like, while like a lot of ICP and Twiztid talk about gross things, like, and like talk about themselves being gross, like Nasty to me really establishes Blaze as like, oh, he's the gross one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like when you can't look away from something really gross, you know? Yeah. Or like when you gotta watch somebody eat that gross thing or whatever on TV, like, it's so disturbing, but you have to keep listening. And he has some amazing metaphors and really good imagery in that just really drives home the point of how fucking gross this dude is.
And I also like the interjections from other people, especially like when he's like, I'm as nasty as the ground that you're standing on. And then somebody yells, only if you're standing in a big pile of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I laughed.
Like his nastiness is well known among his crew. He's infamous for being nasty.
I feel like Nasty and Maggot Face together is two different sides of a coin. You know, they go together real nice.
Like that's part of why he's nasty, because he's got a maggot face.
And you don't care.
I also want to say, so you guys only listen to the Deluxe G edition.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so you've also
well, the thread I listened to had some. I think they plugged in some original songs into it. So because I think I had some extra songs.
Well, were either of you treated to the extended skit that ends the original version of this album?
It is included on the tracks that I listen to on Spotify and on
okay,
YouTube.
Good. The prank call?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank goodness.
The prank call?
Wait. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't think I heard that.
No, I didn't hear that.
No, it's a voicemail.
Okay, so
Jamie Madrox leaving a voicemail.
And what is it?
He says he's basically saying like, hey, I heard you've been fucking everybody in town, and I want to know. You know, Jamie Madrox continues to play this bit of him being the one who has to really beg amongst the group, you know, for people to touch his ass.
Yeah, he really wants his butt touched, and no one will do it. He's never met a single person willing to touch his butt.
He leaves a voicemail to that effect.
Which makes me wonder what's going on with his butt. Nice. So the other thing I wanted to say about this album is that the concept is, so you're talking about like the 4 ingredients, but one of the important ingredients in Blaze's gimmick is that he was a gangster rapper in the 90s when he was killed. And to me, one of the strongest tracks on the album is Thug for Life, and it's so steeped in that like 90s gangster rap sound. Like it's so spot on, and I like it very much.
Okay, Thug for Life is absolutely my fucking favorite song. It's like one of my favorite songs that we've ever listened to on this podcast.
Nice.
I fucking listened to that track over and over and over and over again. Fucking love it. I love the synth in it. So there's like the Mike P songs are like guitar songs, and then the Fritz the Cat songs are more like synth songs.
Yeah, I like the Fritz the Cat song. Yeah.
So there's like really fun warbly synths in a lot of different songs, and Put It Down, You Can't Hurt Me, Thug for Life, Casket, they all have this really cool synth that's in there, and I fucking love it. They all sound great.
Yeah.
And then the more like guitar songs, I didn't really like those as much, except for when there's almost always Twiztid in the chorus of those, and they sound great. And I started to think about Blaze's voice and his delivery, and I just don't think for me, it just doesn't sound like it matches as well with like a driving guitar, crunchy guitar or whatever during the chorus. But the synthy weird stuff like that, it goes really, really good. And so those songs I just fucking love.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So you guys don't like Gravy No Place?
I didn't care for it. I like the chorus. It's got a great twisted chorus.
I wrote aggressive. Mm-hmm. I said I like it. Sounds like a psychopathic. And then I was like Twiztid, the chorus, and I was like not metal, but somehow kind of reminds me of Tool.
Yeah. Oh shit.
It had
that
bass thing like that, and it was just like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, no, that wasn't even the bass driven one. That was a different song. But yeah, no, I just like there's something around that. Like I said, though, it reminded me like just for some reason it kind of reminded me of Tool.
Yeah, I buy it. It's that Mike P sound, which we'll be real deep into when we get to Zeg Island. I guess the last thing that I want to say about this album is a lot of M-bombs here.
Yes.
So is it, what track is it with Violent J on it?
Given the chance, or given half the chance.
Yeah,
that's the one that's actually I wrote Tool twice because that I put Violent J and then it said it has that's the one that has the heavy bass driven part to it, and that sounded more like a Tool as well.
But that's the one that starts with Violent J singing like Killers Kick the Anthem like this, right? Oh no, that's Juggalo Anthem, right? Or is it Killers Kick the Anthem? Yeah. So Violent J starts Juggalo Anthem with like by himself, like Killers Kick the Anthem. What?
Sorry.
Did I cut you off from a...
No, I was like, no, that's not the song I liked. I don't like Juggalo Anthem.
I know, but I wanted to make sure to point out, because we've talked a lot about ABK, especially, I don't know about ABK really, but we've talked a lot about, on this podcast, about Twiztid and Blaze being very, very liberal with, the N-word, at this stage in everyone's careers. And, I think it's very important in Juggalo Anthem that it starts off with Violent J doing the chorus, and he says, Killers Kick the Anthem like this, Juggalo's up in this bitch. And he does it a couple times, and then when the chorus in the song is going, which they repeat many, many, many times in the song, they don't say Killers Kick the Anthem like this.
Yeah.
They say another word.
Yeah.
And then it ends, the song ends with a big chorus of people saying the first half of the chorus, and then it goes to Violent J all by himself saying, Juggalo's up in this bitch, and it's it's almost like the song goes out of its way to let you know that even though everyone else is saying the N-word, Violent J is not.
Yeah. Huh.
Like, it seems like set up specifically to be like, but Violent J is not part of this. Like, he endorses the song, but not the usage of the word.
That's a good call, man.
Yeah, that is a good call.
Good pull.
And I think that's the first time, I heard this album, I think that's the first time I was like, yeah, he just doesn't say it. And everyone else in his crew does. All right, any other thoughts on this album, or should we move along to another one?
I just had a note that I thought I wanted to say about the last song, Garbage, and I know you said that was an extra song that added on the G edition or whatever. But I remember I was listening to it, I was like, I kind of like this song. But I was like, I liked that the music was happy and he was saying awful things. And there was just something about that kind of warmed my soul.
I tried to write, because I wrote a lot of notes, right? And I tried to write because I didn't do it like normal track by track, I tried to write the name of the tracks bigger if I liked it more. And so the biggest one on the page is Thug for Life. The next one is Lookout. And then there's a tie between Garbage and Nasty. And I agree with you, Steve. I think that some of the content, I don't really like hearing him like murdering a woman or whatever. But thinking about the track, and he's like, the first verse is he's killing a guy and he keeps calling him motherfucker, motherfucker, motherfucker. And then the second person that he kills is a woman and he keeps calling her stank ho, stank ho, stank ho. And I think that's a kind of a cool, idea or whatever that he had. But I love at the end, because it's kind of like I'm listening to that and it's a little bit rocky for me. Like I'm not too sure about the content or whatever. And then he gets to the interlude or whatever where he just keeps repeating, "You are trash. You are trash. You are trash."
Take it out, take it out, take it out. You are trash, you are trash. You are trash, you are trash. You are trash, you are trash. You are trash.
And it seems to me like I don't know. In that moment, I'm having a lot of fun. So I dig the track.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. The "you are trash" thing cracked me up.
I guess we've talked before about the perceived real violence versus the perceived like comical violence or cartoon violence. And there's something about he makes this just enough like vague in general to not necessarily be about killing a specific individual, but just like killing two people that he hates. I don't know. I didn't really get anything from the lyric. I didn't look up and read the lyrics, so I don't know.
Yeah,
how
I didn't either.
He talks
I think
about
that
the
probably
people that
helped.
he's killing, but I think he's just saying like you're a garbage person, right? Like so I'm gonna kill you, you know. And that's pretty funny to me.
Well, I'm glad that you guys like this album so much, and I encourage you that if you do like the album and you want to listen to it again, go check out the original version and listen to that through and see how it flows for you and whether anything else stands out or doesn't.
Cool. Yeah,
like,
I will. Yeah.
And if you have thoughts on it, you can drop them, whenever, but, not that it's an assignment, just I would be curious to see how that stacks up to your guys' very, very great enjoyment of this listen. So what shall we cover next? We're going to talk about Mirror Mirror next, or
yeah? Can we do that one next?
Yeah, well, let's do it. Mirror Mirror, which is Twiztid's EP. Yeah, go ahead, guys.
No one that wants to hang out with me because I'm a juggalo, and that's my fault.
That sounds like victim blaming.
Yeah. Well, before you guys shit on the album, can I tell you my little story about it?
Please.
So I thought I didn't like this, and I had it, I bought it in 2005. So, and in 2005 is kind of like, that was right after you guys had left San Francisco. And so I was like, kind of like on my own, figuring out, cause no one listened to ICP but me after that. And so I started like listening to just things that I never listened to with you guys before. And that's when I really started getting into Twiztid. And I call it the calm era of my ICP listening, because I got the calm and I fucking loved that so much. And all these Twiztid albums, I felt like they flowed with that. And, but this Mirror Mirror album that, this obviously came out in 2001. So this was already old in 2005 or 4 years old, when I bought it. And I didn't care for it the first time through that I listened to it. And I didn't really give it too much attention, I think, is the problem, because I had so much good stuff I was listening to. But I ended up taking like 4 songs off this album, and I put it on this great Twiztid play mix that I had. And I listened to that playlist so many times, and I started associating these songs as just being like on Man's Myth or Mutant X. And not realizing when I started listening to this for this assignment, I was like, this is from this album? And I felt really stupid, because had I known that, I would have hyped this. I'm really excited to listen to Mirror Mirror. So there's some songs on here that I have so many great memories attached to, like just being at school and like, and going to work and just like, or walking around Ocean Beach and listening to it on my iPod and stuff, and smoking dope. And yeah, I fucking love this album. There's some songs on it that really suck, don't get me wrong, but I fucking love this album. It's got some really great songs. I just wanted to throw that out there. So now you guys can poop on it. And I'll tell you the songs I like as we go through it.
No, I'm super glad to hear that. I mean, I'm really glad that you appreciate and like the song. And I feel like I'm not prepared to talk shit about this album. I feel like I'm just not super into Twiztid's thing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like. I think I've said before that I like all of these different personalities within Psychopathic Records, and I like when they show up and I like what they bring. But I'm generally more into like what ICP is doing. And so, and that's what I came to realize listening to Mirror Mirror is that there has to be a little bit of silliness in it for me to kind of to really fuck with it, I guess. And this feels like they're doing more of trying to say something, and that's cool. And I appreciate it for what it is. It's just not my favorite thing.
I agree. It took me a long time to warm up to it. I think what had happened is, when I got into the Calm, I had kind of burned myself out. I didn't like, Hell's Pit, and I burned myself out on, Shangri-La and the Bizarre Bazaars and the Forgotten Freshness Volume 3. And right after you guys had moved, I had gotten way into listening to like Riddlebox and Ringmaster, and then I'm getting the old EPs like Tunnel of Love and stuff like that. I was getting all that. And so by 2005, like I kind of was done with ICP. I wasn't done with ICP, but like I needed something new. And then the Calm was out, and I discovered Wizard in the Hood. But there is these Twiztid albums that I started listening to more. And it just clicked for some reason, because I didn't really care for Twiztid before that. And I don't know why. And there's some bad songs of theirs that I really like for some reason. Like on Mutant X. I'm just like, I should not like this song, but I love it. I don't know.
This song's so bad, I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah. And also, I mean, it's a time frame too. I mean, I think I like from Mirror Mirror to Man's Myth and Mutant X, because those came out at the same time. And I don't kind of really like anything after that either. So it's like these like 4 albums that I super dig of Twiztid.
Nice. All right, well, let me tell you my story about this album. I thought I liked this album a lot.
Oh, man.
So this album came out on April 9th, 2002, just so y'all are aware. And it debuted at number 103 on the Billboard 200 and number 5 on the top independent albums. But anyway, I thought I liked this album a lot. And when I listened to it this time, like, I understand what's going on. And I think that they're really good at evoking a very specific mood that this EP is. Like, this EP is very specifically like all one thing. Like, it's, you know, I'm depressed. I don't feel like I fit in anywhere. I hate myself. But at the heart of everything, at least I have, you know, Juggalo family. At least I'm not alone. Which is, you know, I feel like that's a pretty solid take on what they're going for here, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's pretty apparent or whatever. It's not.
I also always appreciate that, like, no matter what the fuck is happening with the Psychopathic Records release, it almost always ends with, like, but really this album is about the people listening to it.
I think that the last track is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
I agree. I appreciated that they were doing one thing, and I appreciated the mood that they were trying to invoke. I guess I just wasn't really in the mood for the mood. And like, there's like nothing to any of this production. Like,
I'm sorry, what'd you say? There's
nothing to any of the production on this album.
Oh.
And like, it feels like very little of what they're saying matches the energy of the music and vice versa. I just feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between like the energy that they're bringing and like what the music is bringing. But you know, again, like, I feel like given the tone that they're setting for this album, I feel like there's probably a very specific mindset you can be in that is, perfect for listening to this album. I just wasn't in that mindset.
Yeah, I wish I would have looked this up more, because you're sparking something in me. Back when I was listening to this, I remember I was going to Twiztid and ICP websites, and on Twiztid's website, I remember reading about, like, I think it was during the green. Please correct me, but I think there's something right about this. I remember, like, one of them was like having mental health issues. And so the other one recorded like a shit ton of the album and like did all his parts and made the parts. And then the other guy, when he got better and felt better, like went back and then recorded their parts to it. Something to that. It was either the Green Book or there might even be an EP where only one of them's on it. Now I can't remember. So I want to look that now. Now I definitely am going to look that up so we can actually talk about this, because I just know that one of those guys had been dealing with lots of mental health issues and depression, and I think that's a huge part why you see Twiztid's music being so depressing.
Yeah,
and
clearly they had a mindset that they were trying to get to the other side of.
Yeah, I think they do a good job. It was definitely like an acquired taste for me, because I just wanted fun, loving ICP stuff. I think I can see why Juggalos would really cling to this music too. I feel like Twiztid actually talks more to feelings people have. I think even when ICP talks to like the depressing feelings or the feeling like a loser, it's still cartoonish because they end up doing something violent. Or, I mean, I know these songs are violent too, but I don't know, it's just like more real about the emotion.
No, I think you're exactly right, Steve, and I think it's it makes what you're saying makes me think about what I said before, that they're sort of the model Juggalos, that they're like they're the ones who experienced the Dark Carnival, and then they like became what Juggalos can aspire to be or whatever. And so for them to have, you know, this opening track, the intro where the character, it's Violent J, looking at himself in the mirror and talking to himself and explaining, like opening up to himself about what his problems are and the things that he feels about himself, and all these, like, this adversity that he faces, or the loneliness that he feels. I mean, that's what Juggalos come to ICP for, right? That's what they all describe is feeling left out, feeling like an oddball. And so I can only imagine, you know, how if you're struggling with something and you care about this music, this album comes out and you're like, fuck, man, like these guys understand what I'm going through, and look at them. They're making the most of it or whatever. I think that's fucking rad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and if it doesn't register with you, it just doesn't register with you. And I get that too. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thing. Like it's fine. I imagine that if it's a thing you need at a particular time, it's probably really good to listen to. I just, like, it didn't really do anything for me. It was just sort of monotonous. And like, since it is a concept album where you're just evoking one emotion, obviously there's not a lot of variance in that emotion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's also not, for me at least, it's not like that depressing. It doesn't give you that depressing feel where, like, sometimes you will like go and listen to a particular band's album because you feel kind of bad or melancholy, so you listen to REM's and like get all like or Depeche Mode or something. You know what I mean? Like depressing music, yeah. And then you like, you know, you experience it and then you let it go and you move on. And like this doesn't kind of give you that out, and it doesn't give you that invoke that like kind of like positive depression we inflict on ourselves with sad music.
Yeah, because I love listening to sad music, but
yeah,
this is a very specific type of emotion that, you know, I just don't get.
Yeah, no, and I totally understand.
I mean, I get it, I understand it. I just didn't. It's not the sort of sad music I would want to listen to if I wanted to listen to sad music.
Yeah. I also don't listen to it for sad music. I listen to it. I think these are some fucking like. There's some songs on here that I just fucking love, and I don't care what you guys think.
You wanna tell us what those songs are?
Yeah,
Tell us what you like, man.
I'll tell you. So The World, that was a song on my rotation list. That's third song. It's a great song. I love it. It's not my favorite off of it, but I jam to that song a lot. For those of you, like, I don't like that song because I hate the guitar. But when the guitar isn't playing, it's a sweet song. And I love the end, how they keep just like bringing the, I hate everyone. Like, it's really great. But then, but What's That and, Left Field those are my two, like, those are my jams. I love those songs so much. And Left Field's funny. It's short, which is nice, and it has Violent J, and, you know, it's a really mean song towards, like, if you just listen to it on the surface, like, it just seems like a really mean song towards fans. It's like, fuck, you don't come and take a picture, and he talks about kicking their guts in, and doing, like, Violent J's all mean to fans, and obviously, you know, that's because at the end of the album, they're like, oh, we only do this because of you guys, and we love you so much. So that song Left Field always was really funny to me too, because of that. And but I just love the way the music is, and so those were my jams. I hate Dirty Little Girl.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cat was dumb, and
It's
Alone.
Cat.
Yeah, there's a song called Cat on there.
There's a song called CNT.
CNT.
Oh, I wrote it wrong.
No, it's called on YouTube or whatever. It's called Cat.
Is that what it was? Okay, yeah.
Grace Ain't No Place.
And then you know,
just another crazy chick.
Alone wasn't my jam, and then You're the Reason wasn't my jam either. But I just thought it was kind of a cool, you know, Juggalo song, I guess, or fan song. And then I just like the line "Hit the bong and come along."
Steve, you mentioned how Left Field's a short track, and that was one thing that we probably should have mentioned on Blaze's album as well. Is there's some pretty short tracks on that record.
It's just that on the Deluxe G edition, there's like 40 tracks.
There are a lot of tracks. Some of them are only 40 seconds long. That's cool, man. I thought What's That was my favorite track on the album. For sure. I thought it stood up. Above the other ones.
Which one's the one where they're saying I hate the world or whatever? What was the...
That's
I hate everyone. That one's
I hate everyone. Is that the world, or is that For Those of You?
Yeah, For Those of You. Yeah. I hate everyone.
What's the content of What's That? Sorry, I didn't make very good notes this week.
It's like being a juggalo and a fuck up and doing stuff and getting high and what's that? It's what it's I don't know. Like, I can't even remember the lyrics, but I don't even think the lyrics really say much. Just
I couldn't tell you either what
it's
about.
Fucking jams, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's about. It's like smoking pot and shit. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't very sober most of the time I ever listened to that song. It wasn't the first time I listened to it.
I'm just like, wait, what's that one song about? And he was like, fucking, I don't know. Who cares, man?
What is it about? Yeah. Anyways, so I dug that album, but we don't have to talk about it.
Well, let's talk about an album I'm sure we all dug a lot. It's The Chaos Theory by Jumpsteady.
Yep,
it sure is.
Stella! That's my first note for the intro. I don't even remember what they were actually yelling now.
Twiztid!
It's pissed. Shit, I don't remember what they were yelling, though, in the actual intro of this Jumpsteady album.
Yeah, no one does. I think it's just all. I think it's like it to me. It's almost exact. It's almost the exact same intro as the most tasteless intro. The Twister. That's all. That's all it is. So this album came out on July 23rd, 2002. However, it was originally supposed to come out in 1997 because there was an ad for it in the booklet for Tunnel of Love. However, it did not come out for an additional 5 years.
Well, I mean, it was advertised, but I'm sure they didn't
Worth
make
the
it.
wait, guys.
They didn't start making it until
An
2002.
album over 5 years in the making. The Chaos by Jumpsteady. Guys, so we talked about one mood for the whole Mirror Mirror EP. I'm gonna say one flow for the entire Jumpsteady.
Damn. So Jumpsteady's super into games, right? And he made the Into the Echo Side game. He co-made
Yeah.
Into the Echo Side. I think that the guy, there's some,
talent.
what's that?
He has a talent.
He has a talent. There is some content here. There's some ideas. There's some interesting things going on. The thing that holds this album back the most is Jumpsteady's flow. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because I think in a lot of points he really sounds like Violent J to me. Like you can tell that they're brothers. I feel like they talk the same. But that is not to say that he sounds like Violent J in his delivery. I feel like I can hear that they sound the same when they talk.
Like Violent J has what we like to call in the business as a personality.
There you go. That's a better way of saying it. Thank you.
Yeah, so like Violent J has just like is overflowing with like personality and charisma. And I think Jumpsteady has stuff that he's good at, but like I don't know if he's like, a rapper.
Well, people want to know why they call him Jumpsteady. Does he ever tell us?
No, someone else answered the question.
But he talks about some serious stuff. He talks about like going to Afghanistan, being in the military, and then he talks about some funny stuff like ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
So
He does it all.
Yeah. It just didn't feel like an album.
Guys,
like a bunch of songs.
There are 2 songs on this album that are over 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
And there are 3 songs on this album that are over 5 minutes long.
Yeah, this album has the opposite effect. Those Bruce boys, the Bruce brothers, love long songs.
Long ladies love Bruce Brothers.
It's true. But one of those over 6 minute songs is a cover, so.
Uh-huh. It's not a cover so much as it is them rapping over the Chips theme song. But then it doesn't even last for the whole song.
No, joke your mind.
Oh. Sorry. My bad.
But yes, good call that they sampled the Chips theme song for Ninjas in Action.
That is amazing. But the problem is it's got the verse, chorus about 7 times, and then it has this bridge, and that takes you about 3.5 minutes to do the song. That bridge is where it should end.
Right.
And then they just like,
And there's another song.
and then they just like recreate the first half.
You
Different
put another
rhymes,
song in my
and they
song.
actually are good rhymes. That's the thing that bothered me. I was like, this is like 6.5 minutes of like a lot of like people putting ideas into verses, and I don't even care because it's 6 minutes long. And it even made the really cool, kitschy Chips theme music even boring.
Right. I was stoked on that sample. I thought a lot of the music on this album was really good.
I feel like you could take that. Yeah, like I feel like you could take a lot of this music and make a good rap album out of it.
What must it be like?
The Ninjas in Action song, Violent J says something about a gasoline Slurpee, and I thought that was...
Guys, I gotta say the highlight of this album for me was Sammy's song.
Where Samantha his daughter Samantha once again returns, makes a triumphant return, and busts some sweet rhymes
kick
for
some
all
flows.
of us.
Yeah.
I wrote a note for that.
Samantha.
Mm-hmm.
My note for Sammy's song was kid rapping.
Mm-hmm. Accurate.
Yeah.
Well, the track starts with Jumpsteady calling over his daughter and be like, everybody loved the track family. They want to hear you rap again, which is apparently, it turned out to be true. When he was saying it, I wasn't too sure. But then she started and I was like, oh no, this is the best song on the album.
He's like, Samantha, I heard Dim Carnival talking about your raps. in the
She raps in English and in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, sorry if you're, I'm smart. I speak 2 languages. Sorry.
Sorry if you can't handle a strong woman.
Right. She's a Boricua. So that's what it was, is that his wife, Nancy also does the booty shake. Her brother is Misery. That's the lineage.
Mm.
We couldn't figure it out on a couple episodes ago. And Misery decided not to continue. So he had a lady. If you look, he's got a music video, and the lady in the video is who he ran away with.
Also, the lady who he steals a necklace from in Big Money Hustlers.
Yes, sorry, that's who it was. Not a music video. It's from Big Money Hustlers.
Well, I mean, Big Money Hustlers is nothing if not a music video.
It's got their music playing through the whole thing. So.
About music.
Thanks. Okay, so that's where we got to.
All right.
But yeah, Sammy's song I think it's good.
Cool. That's all. I listened to this once, and I was like, if I ever have to listen to this song again, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, like, it wasn't bad. It was just like so monotonous. That's all.
We'll see in a few more years. We'll get to Master of the Flying Guillotine, and
Will we,
we'll see if he's.
But will we?
We'll see if he's improved. We have to.
Okay.
We have to cover it.
All right. Final thoughts, guys.
Blaze You Dead. I cannot wait to hear everything. Oh, so the one thing I was gonna say is that on the Spotify list, like, there's a playlist. It's different on mobile, right? Like, you can't just listen to any song you want to.
If you have an account, like if you pay, you can.
Yeah, I ain't paying.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of other Blaze tracks that were thrown into that playlist with everything else on that one album, and everything else that I heard that wasn't on this album, I liked. And so I can't wait to hear more Blaze. I enjoyed listening to that album immensely. The Mirror Mirror EP, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like what it is. Actually, there's in the review, there's an all music review that you can get to through the Wikipedia page, and there's a quote on the Wikipedia page that says, despite the fact that nobody outside of like Juggalos is going to listen to this record, it's probably the most accurate representation of what it was like to be a sad young person in 2002. So I think it's got something going for it there.
All right. So next week we were talking about the comic book, The Pendulum, the entire tome. It's not really a place where you can find it and buy it, because like I think on Amazon it's like $57 to buy a used copy or something. So if you Google ICP Pendulum Comic PDF or ICP Pendulum Comic Read Online, it'll take you to a bunch of options, but the best one that I've found is on readcomiconline.to.
What?
So, yeah, you can go there, and then there are all 12 issues that you can click on, and you can read them right in your web browser. So we're going to read this whole epic story by next week, hopefully. Wow, these comics had a cover price of $5.95, but I guess once you factor
with a CD.
Once you factor in the CD, that's not terrible. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Read the Pendulum comic. If you don't want to do that, guess what? The week after that, we start Shangri-La, the Wraith Shangri-La, the epic 6th Joker's card. I'm very excited.
Damn.
So we'll be back to our normal a few tracks at a time for that stretch. And yeah, we're excited about it. Hopefully the Pendulum comic will get us all nice and pumped up for it. So thanks to everybody for listening. As always, we love hearing from you. Drop us a line, dimcarnival@gmail.com, Dim Carnival on Instagram and Twitter. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can follow me on all social media at Sundown Motel. Thanks for the new follows this week. And yeah, until next week, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're as nasty as... But
I came home from work and my cat had peed on my sheets.
Only if you're sleeping in a pile of shit.
Do I sound better this time than last time?
You do.
Yes.
You sound much better. Oh, it's out of battery. Fuck.
Your Skype recorder?
No, my vape pen.
Oh. The important thing. The item that's vital to the podcast.